when I looked at the subject, ordered chaos, well, as Indians, really, we need to discuss it. Don't we see it all around us all the time? And as a journalist, I think it has been the parcel of my life for about 15 years now. So let's talk about it in terms of what we see around us first. It's basically something which looks quite disorganized, quite chaotic from the surface, but we know that there is an underlying order to it, and that's called ordered chaos. Now, when I was your age, probably we didn't have the shopping malls, so even if you had to go shopping, it was an ordered chaos. Those who have grown up in Kolkata like me, if you have known Bada Bazaar, well, you will know what is ordered chaos. On the other hand, when we talk about our own food, well, when we go to Europe, they take a lot of pride in saying that this fish is butter garlic with a dash of lemon. Well, when we cook fish here in India, we have some 15 spices all jumbled up, mixed together in a very chaotic fashion, but what comes out of it is exhilarating after eating, right? So it's called ordered chaos in our daily lives. Now, after lunch, if I have taken and grabbed your attention enough, because all Indians love food, I'll talk about work now. So I've been a journalist for 15 years. And before that also, to become a journalist, it was quite chaotic as far as my life is concerned. I was in college and I was part-timing in a local news channel in Calcutta. My daily life used to be like going to work at 7:30, going to college at 7:30, leaving for that, for 8:45 class, 12:30 it will get over, and I would walk to the bus station to go to my office, and while walking, I would have a chapati with sabji which my mom had really packed in. And it was only Sunday first half when I used to really spend time with my parents and family, because Sunday used to be working, Saturday used to be full college. So it has been quite chaotic. But if we really look at every phase of life, you'll all, when you start working, will have to do something or the other like this if you really have to make it big. Because in India, if you don't perform, there are 50 other people behind you to get the same bloody job. So you'll have to remember that. And if you go overseas, more than Indians, you have Chinese. So you have to remember that as well. So there is no escape. All right, so let me talk about what I do best, which is journalism, which is reporting of news. And for those who don't know me, who haven't tracked any of my stories, well, I specialize in mergers and acquisitions. Now, that is across the sectors. What I did for a large part of my career and was more of a learning. So this particular profession pays you to really educate you over the years. And that's a very good thing about this profession. Now, I used to never say no to any assignment. When I joined CNBC, then I went to NDTV, I went to Economic Times, ET Now, and then I've come back to CNBC. So that's been my overall career graph over the 15 years. And when I was a cub reporter, my daily life used to be going from one press conference to another and to the events. And life was same, you have to know, because in the car I used to have the same chapati and sabji every day because I'm rushing from one event to the other. I never said no to any event, and today I've come to a stage where I have basic understanding on almost all the sectors, and I can just build up on it and break stories, because if you go to speak to anybody from any industry, if you're not at least halfway through in terms of your understanding of that sector, you're gone, you've lost the case. How will you have a chat with him for 45 minutes if you can't hold the conversation for 5 minutes? So that's something that is very important. And I realized that ordered chaos at every stage of life is just so very important. It does not mean that you're rushing in all directions, but it definitely means that there has to be a very heady concoction of various spices, which in the end, all concocted together, will give you such an exhilarating feeling when the results show. And that is something that everybody needs to work on, depending on your capacity and your time zones, not looking at the others. So that's been something that I have worked all my life for. Now let me take you through a newsroom situation. I don't think any of you have been to a newsroom, but even though you don't have many televisions in campuses while you're studying, do you at least follow news on CNBC? How many of you are a regular viewer of CNBC here? All right, so sad to know that. But okay, I'll use the platform to advertise, and please go and watch television. But these days, you don't really need to be in front of a television to really know the news, because everything is digital now, and even our site has live TV on it. So if you have data and don't have TV, you can even watch television on that. Now, it's very different experience when you see something developing which is breaking news on television compared to what you see and read in solitude on your phone as a digital feed. I'll give you one small example. When any news breaks, and since I specialize in mergers and acquisitions, I'll talk about that. So A company buys B company, like Idea-Vodafone. You just heard that I was working on that and covering that very, very closely. So A company buying B company, and that suddenly comes and breaks on the news wires. It first flashes on our screen at the bottom of the screen. What you see on the channel is an ordered coverage of what's coming out, the anchor reading it, summarizing it for you, analyzing it, an expert joining and making sense of it. This is generally a coverage that you see. But what goes behind, nobody knows. So the behind the scenes action is a typical ordered chaos. For every frame of television that you see, there are at least 100 people at every point of time working on it, in putting that particular frame out on television. What really happens is, as soon as the news breaks, the ticker is put out, somebody shouts out, there is a research analyst who starts quickly calculating. There is a guest coordinator who starts quickly calling out people who would be able to add to that. There will be editors who will start making sense of it as well. There is a production team which will work to help put that out. And there'll be an anchor who will have an ordered chaos individually as well, because that person is on air without breaking a sweat. That person has to really put all that into perspective without knowing much, because it's only a few lines which have been really notified to the exchanges. So what really happens, she gets or he gets a feed on the a queue in the ear that this is a breaking news happening. That person is also checking out the wires for more details. We have a WhatsApp group in which all the details keep coming out, so people are feeding information there as well. And on the other hand, there's somebody running with printouts to the anchor and on the side slipping it in. So this is the ordered chaos that we see on a regular basis when it comes to a news network, a television channel. And that news, when it comes on television, is a very, very orderly format, analysis as well as dissemination of information. The result is perfect. Even if you see so many people running around, shouting out and going helter-skelter while covering that news, each one also remember have their specialized job to do in it. A congregation of so many specializations, so many resources really creates every bit of information and news that comes on the channel. So that's, for me, an ordered chaos. When it comes to personal life as well, you first go on to probably cover the sectors. On the other hand, once there is basic understanding, you want to delve deeper into your domain expertise. Once you've had that, you branch out to doing larger stuff. And once that's taken care of, as your ambition in terms of career is moving in the right direction, then you start making your personal life also chaotic by putting in more aspirations on how you want to develop your inner side as you grow older. Balance your life with work. Like I would tell you, personally for me, now after developing a property called Big Deal of my own, which is a weekly show on covering daily M&A situations and trying to participate as much as possible in every big news, meeting big corporates, meeting important people and developing the knowledge, what I look at now is the personal enhancement. And on the other hand, it also means health. While wealth is taken care of through career, health is extremely important as well. So with all that chaos happening in your career, because it's a 24/7 job, as all of you know, I started putting in a little bit of effort in first doing yoga. Once that was set for a few months, I added some gym to it. After that was taken care of, I started devising my own diet plan. Now that's in place. Now I'm thinking probably next step would be meditating on a regular basis. After that, I will look at the passions in life that I have, probably of creating or joining hands with an NGO or certain things that I feel good about, or maybe TED Talk and talking to young individuals and telling them about my experiences, if that can be of help to anybody. So this is how you create a chaos in a very orderly fashion in your life to move ahead in life. It's not about getting a job, a government service, and just waiting for the paycheck at the end of every month. That is something that a lot of people focus on, and I would say that as far as ordered chaos is concerned, that's something that I look at, and so far it has worked well. But it also means that not stopping at any point as well. And that's something that comes from inner motivation. What gives you that inner motivation in life at every stage of life needs to be worked upon individually. Nobody from outside will come and tell you, none of the bosses, your parents, nobody will come and tell you what will motivate you. You have to keep on motivating yourself and keep creating that chaos in your life to really form an order and give a direction to the life. So that's something that I work on. This is a philosophy that we have been working with in journalism. And in journalism, everything we do is in such a chaotic manner, all for that ordered chaos. So I would say that for me, it's a way of life, and this topic was very easy to talk about. Thank you so much.